Welcome back. Welcome back to the Success Framework. We have made significant progress. By now, you should have some key brand information documented. Your business model canvas should be complete. Now what we're going to deep dive into is value proposition. And so there's a range of tools, techniques, and strategies we're going to use in this part of the Success Framework. Again, we're going to follow the method we've been following. We'll do the activities, reflection, and action. And by the end of this, you should hopefully have developed your first value proposition canvas. And hopefully after this, many, many more to reflect each of your customer segments. The value proposition canvas is made up of the value you create, your customer attributes, products and services, jobs to be done, pains and pain relievers, gains and gain creators. And so when it's time, I'll talk to you about each section. This is another one of my, apparently I'm going to say this a lot, this is my favorite section of the Success Framework. What I really like about this section is the work that we do to go into value creation and customer attributes. I think, yeah, I really enjoy this part. It gives you deep clarity on who you're here to serve, the value you create, and this with or underpinned by the work we've previously done. It can be quick, but it also can be really rewarding. And so it's if we know our direction, we know the language that's important to us, and we know our business model, well, this is all about deeply and clearly defining the value that we create so we can really target getting the value we want to bring to this world into the hands of our customers. And so we'll do some definition of different elements. We'll do a couple of different activities and go from there. So combination of discussion or talking, teaching, and activities coming your way. And we're going to start that by doing value creation. Now, as you've noticed, we do a fair bit of reflection and analysis. Sometimes it could be pretty valuable to also do your research, so talking to your customer segments, all that sort of good stuff. Okay. So, value creation analysis. In your company, you've worked for lots of clients. You've worked with staff and other businesses. What I'm going to ask you to do in a moment is reflect on that. And this is one way of finding the value you bring to people. If done right, you should be able to answer at the end of all of this who your core customer is, the customer level you need to target, the value you deliver so you can capitalize on it, informing your words, and help inform your brand promise. And so we get to go back and do a little bit of rework if you get a deeper understanding of the value you deliver. And so again, activities into reflection and action. Activity 1. So you can use your resume, LinkedIn. You can use your invoices that you've sent to identify your customers. You can use project plans. You can use client agreements, statement of work, anything that relates to something where you've traded your time and resources in return for money. And when you grab that information together, if you have to pause the video now and go collect some stuff or open up documents on your computer, do so. Pause the video, go find all those things. With all of that information available to you, really, the first question is, who have I created value for? And so let me do the pre-frame in a moment. You'll pause the video, you'll wait 3 to 7 minutes, do some writing, etc., etc. And so this is where you're going to use your workbook, and you've got your value creation worksheet that you can leverage. Okie doke. So first question, who have I created value for? So use your memory, the tools or products that I suggested, pause the video for 3 to 7 minutes, list out everyone you've created value. It can be a person or a business. Pause the video, start your list. Welcome back. Now, as you look at that list, next to each person or business that you've identified, you want to start listing out what was the value I created for them. It could be the value you created in your words, in their words, however you want to articulate it. But the next activity, 3 to 7 minute time box, I want you to write down next to everything, what was the value you created for them. So pause the video, identify the value you created. Okay, you can do this if you want to, which is once you have your list, look for and circle the key themes and words you've used. So you can see in this little table example, obviously I did this in a spreadsheet, what was the value you delivered and any notes. And so for me, in a lot of my early engagements, it was leadership, guidance, and project delivery, tons of reports, data, evidence, user insights, so user research, that sort of thing, which allowed decision making. And so that's the example I've given you there. All right, next. Value creation activity number 2. So we'll break this into 3 sections. The outcome that you're going to generate is defining the value, problems, and needs. And yes, it may feel at times like there is some repetition. Repetition is fine because it's about getting to that deeper, detailed information. And I want to promise you, if you follow it, it will work. So, question 1. I'll ask the question, pause the video, 3 to 7 minutes, come back, next question. So question 1, what value have I consistently delivered to all my customers? So think about all your customers and the 1 to 3 things you've consistently delivered for them. Pause the video, do some writing for 3 to 7 minutes, come back. All right, next question. Consider all the customers, consider everyone you've worked with, worked for, the value you've delivered. What problems do you solve for your customers? And so pause the video for 3 to 7 minutes, list out all the problems you've solved for all your customers. Pause and go. Now that you're back, what needs have you satisfied? So what needs have those human beings, those businesses had that when you've come in, you've solved? And so for 3 to 7 minutes, journal out what customer needs you satisfy. So pause the video now, list out your needs, and then come back. Okay. If you are similar to me, you might want to transpose everything into a spreadsheet, into lists. You can use a workbook, but you want to list out the value, the problem, and the needs. Do it, don't do it, up to you. I like listing stuff out so I can see it sequentially. Okay, so draw the value you've delivered, problems you've solved, and the needs you've fulfilled. This, I mean literal. This is a creative activity that I'm asking of you. I understand it's a little weird. If you really, really, really don't want to draw a picture, you could use AI and do some prompt engineering and come up with some pictures. But really, what this section about is clarifying and getting clarity on the value you deliver. So literally identify and draw out an image of the value you've delivered, the problems you've solved, and the needs you have fulfilled. And in actually physically going through the process of drawing them, you'll get a deeper understanding of your customer, their problems, needs, and the value you've delivered. So pause the video, 3 to 7 minutes, get your creative on, do some drawing, and visualize the value, problems, and needs you solve for your customers. Okay, welcome back. So what you've just gone through and done is you have developed the value you deliver, the problems you solve, and the needs you fulfill. And what will happen is we're going to use this repeatedly in future marketing content, It might inform some brand stuff, could inform your business model canvas a bit. And what we're going to do is, in a few minutes, once we progress this part of the program, you're going to come back and use the things that you've just written out. The next thing we're doing is customer attributes. So what are the similarities about your customers that help answer who are your future customers? So this is in part about answering that. And really the goal is getting a deep understanding of people and business attributes so you can target the right people at the right time with all that value you create, the problems you solve, the needs you resolve. So what do we do? The activity is about identifying your core customer attributes that will enable you to effectively target current and future customers. So now that you've done the value creation activity, I want you to answer these following questions. So for those problems you solved, the needs you satisfied, etc., what level were those core customers? In the consulting context, it might be an executive, SES member, contractor, executive level, could be a staff member. Maybe if it's outside of government, it could be founder, CEO, COO, it could be managing director, whatever level the people are at. And so obviously I'm doing strategic work, so I generally end up working with leaders within a business. The next question you want to answer is, what role were they in? Were they, again, I'm using the IT example, like were they a developer, an analyst, a manager? Were they a project manager? Were they a builder? Whatever it is, you want to understand the roles that those people were in. And now I've used the word agency here. What agency type do they belong to? It could be agencies type, it could be industry, it could be business type. You're trying to get a sense for their category. And so when I did a lot more consulting to federal government, a lot of it was advisory federal agencies, policy federal agencies, and then the third type of client I spent some time with was operational agencies. So they're delivering services to the public. If you're doing products, services, and you're outside of government, it might be category or company type. It could be construction, it could be commercial versus residential, it could be pharmaceutical, it could be anything like that, any of the industry types that you're interacting with. So what I want you to do is pause the video for 4 to 12 minutes. I want you to write out against everything that you've created so far, what level were your core customers, what role were they in, and what agency type or industry types did they belong to. So pause the video, identify these details, then come back. Okay, if you're like me in any way, shape or form, maybe you'll choose to use a spreadsheet or whatever, or use the workbook that I've given you. Here you can see I've done the agency, the context, the value I delivered, the problem I solved, the need I resolved, and I've also articulated the help. What was the help I was bringing? So you can transpose this because it then becomes reusable in seeing a map of your core customers. And so the question you might choose to ask yourself, what was the help? What was the work? And so once you've done your transposing the information you've already created, I'll get you to pause the video for 3 to 7 minutes. And I want you to add in there, what was the help you provided? What was the work you were doing? So pause the video, articulate that, and then come back. Great. Next. It's my hope that you're getting a really deep understanding for your core customer, who they are, why they're here, what they're here to do, and the value you've been bringing. All of this feeds directly into ultimately targeting more of those people and making some more money, clearly. The Next space we're going to look at is products and services. And this, in doing this now, makes the next activity really easy, and it ensures you're really clear on what it is that you're bringing to the market. This work will also potentially be useful going back into your business model canvas. And so the question I have for you, or the activity I have for you, is for you to list out all your products and services that relate to the customer segments you're focused on. How does your value proposition help your customer get their jobs done to be functional? Is it functional, emotional, or social? Use the data from the previous activities to note value, problems, and needs you solve and satisfy. So what I want you to do is pause the video for 3 to 7 minutes, and I want you to list out all the products and services, if you haven't done so already, that your customer segments we've been looking at are focused on. And then while you're listing it out, start thinking about what is the job they're trying to do? What are they trying to get done? We have a good idea of the value you're bringing, the problems you're solving, but how does that relate to the job they're doing? So pause the video for 3 to 7 minutes, list out all your products and services, and then come back. Okay. Now what we're going to do with that, and with the idea of what jobs are my clients trying to do, we can get in and do the jobs to be done activity. Okay. Let's scrub that AI. So what we're going to do now is an activity that focuses on your customer jobs to be done. And this feeds directly into the next major product we're going to create, which is the Value Proposition Canvas. So what I want you to consider and think about and write down in a minute is, what is it that your customers want? What are they trying to do? What job are they trying to get done? Do they want to look good? Are they trying to gain power or status? Do they want to feel good or have security? Do they want to create products and services that service their customers? So are you enabling them to do that? Note in which context you notice pains or gains in the customer experience. You can think about it, or we can go into the next section and I'll help you elicit that. So the types of questions you might ask yourself is, what are your customers trying to get done? And so not yet, but in a minute, you will pause the video and journal out for 3 to 7 minutes the answer to this question. What are your customers trying to get done? This includes tasks they're trying to do, the things they want to complete, the problems they're solving, or the needs you're trying to satisfy. And so as you think about those things, pause the video, come back in 3 to 7 minutes, and we'll continue on. Now that you have your now that you have your jobs to be done, we can move into pains and gains. Now, I appreciate in this minute, I may not have pointed to this yet. Customer attributes. So we've been doing the customer attributes. We've talked about that. We've got the notebooks in your workbook. So your products and services where you can list it out, some blank space for you to use the worksheets. Jobs to be done can go into there. We're about to do pains and pain relievers. Your notes can go into there. So pains and gains, or pains and pain relievers, I should say. So next activity, customer pains. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to describe your customer and you're going to reflect on, do they have any negative emotions? Do they have any undesired situations or costs? What risks have they experienced before, during, and after getting the job done, doing the thing they've been doing? And so what I want you to do is pause the video for 3 to 7 minutes, answer this question. Describe your customers. Do they have any negative emotions? Do they have undesired situations or costs? What risks are they experiencing? Pause the video, write this stuff down, come back when you're ready. Great. So now that you have a little bit about the pains that they have, next to that, we're going to look at your pain relievers. So what do you do in your products and services that relieves the pain they're experiencing? And so on one side, you have their pains. On the next side, you have the pain relievers. So what you want to do in this part of the activity is describe how your products or services alleviate their pains. You're going to consider, how do you eliminate or reduce their negative emotions? How do you mitigate or solve their undesired costs and situations? And what risks can you reduce before, during, or after your customers get the job done? So one side are the pains, the next side are the pain relievers. So for 3 to 7 minutes, I want you to pause the video and answer the question, how do your products or services alleviate your customer pains? How do you eliminate, reduce negative emotions? How do you mitigate or solve undesired costs? And what risks do you reduce? Pause the video, come back, and we'll progress. Okay. Now we've done pains, we're going to look at gains. So gains and gain creators. These are the things that your customer want to gain and how you help create those gains. And so it looks like this. So the first activity is describe the benefits your customer expects, desires, or would be surprised by. That's what you want to be thinking about. So considering all your product services, the value you create, the problems you solve, all of that sort of good stuff. In a moment, I'll take you across to a question, and I want you to spend time describing the benefits your customer expects, desires, or would be surprised by. As you're doing this, you're going to consider what functional utility, social gains, or positive emotions and cost savings they're going to realize. And so pause the video, take 3 to 7 minutes, and describe the benefits your customers expect, desire, or would be surprised by. Pause the video, then come back. Okay, what you should have is your gains, or the gains that they're seeking. And you now get to do the other side of the coin. If that's what they're seeking, your gain creators. So what are you creating? And so if they want these gains, what do your products and services create? And so you're going to ask the question, how do your products and services create customer gains? How do you create benefits to your customers that they expect, desire, would be surprised by? Again, it could be functional, social, positive emotions, and cost savings. And so now that you know the gains that they want, I want you to pause the video for 3 to 7 minutes, and you're going to map out the products and services that create the gains they're expecting. So pause the video, go back and start journaling out the gains you create. Okay, welcome back. Now, what do you do with all of this? I've had you use a notepad, a notebook. Maybe you've done something online. The Value Proposition Canvas itself does have a Creative Commons license. Let's see here. There we go. You can see now that you will have listed out your products and services. You can then list out your gain creators, pain relievers, customer gains, customer pains, customer jobs to be done. So as I look at it, the left side is all about what you do to help your customer on the right. Now you can go to strategize advisor.com, and you can check out the Value Proposition Canvas, the original that's there. Again, totally amazing. I think I even have an example here that I can show you of how I've done it. Oh, here we go. There we go. So this is more like the original. That's their intellectual property. I've just done boxes. I like boxes, whatever. The outcome is you start to get a deeper understanding of each customer segment, the gains you create to the gains they want, the pains you relieve to the pains they have. Obviously, this now drives your ability to communicate with, attract, and bring in people that you solve the problem for. So we're almost done. I think that's about it in a nutshell. I would collect all the information you've done. I would review the work you've completed to date, and I would start going through the value proposition canvas and making it complete. And so then what you have is your brand language. You have your business model that allows you to see opportunities to grow, improve, change, get rid of waste, and onboard people. And then you have a value proposition canvas for each of your customer segments. And so then that way it's really, really clear the value you deliver to who. And it allows you to write copy, produce content, produce advertising that targets them, allows you to onboard and train your staff so they're really clear about who they're helping. And it can ultimately down the track feed how you operate the business, the training material you produce, the processes you develop, the sales scripts, all that sort of good stuff. And so that sees us complete another section of the success framework. What you're going to jump into next is understanding competition, a bunch of useful stuff that I'm going to take you through. It's going to be a really easy way, simple way of getting clear on your competition and clear about your white space, your opportunity to succeed and scale. So thank you very much. I hope you're enjoying the success framework, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Rock and roll. Okie dokie. See you soon.